Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm FlipArtz and welcome back to a brand new Fall Guys video. As you guys know, Fall Guys is a brand new contestants game show type of game that's come out recently and definitely took the internet and gaming world by storm. And as fun as it is, we also know it's definitely a frustrating game as well. So for today's video, I'll be covering every race game mode available currently here in Fall Guys, along with the description it provides you, some commentary about my thoughts on the map, and then followed by some tips to help you guys navigate through and potentially qualify or win the match to move on towards the finals. Now, the reason that I'm making this video is actually pretty simple. It's that everyone wants crowns. Crowns are not only a sign of how much you guys win in Fall Guys, it's also the hard to earn currency that allows you to buy some of the nicer things, the rarer gear and items in the shop that you can only actually buy with crowns and not with your kudos, although there are some points in the free battle pass that we have at the moment for season 1 where you can actually get free crowns, but that's not really the point. But just before we get into the video, if you guys can do me a solid favor, hit that like button for me to help out with that YouTube algorithm, get the likes up on this video, and to just show your support in general, as well as if you guys enjoy Fall Guys, which is why I'm assuming you guys are clicking on this video, aside from trying to learn how to get better at the game, then drop a like for that as well, and also consider subscribing and turning on notifications, as I'll be uploading more Fall Guys content here on the channel and more that you guys can enjoy. I've also been streaming a ton over on Twitch at twitch.tv/FlipArtzLive. The link will be down in the description below, where you can find me playing different games, and currently it is Fall Guys, where you guys can interact and talk with me in the chat, have a good time, and joining in on the fun with the rest of the community here, the Arts Fam community. But with that said, let's run down everything I can to help you guys out with Dizzy Heights, Hit Parade, Seesaw, DoorDash, Gate Crash, Tiptoe, the whirlygig, Slime Climb, and Fruit Shoot. Let's get into it. So starting with the first one here, it's going to be Dizzy Heights. Reach the finish line by racing past the spinning platform. This map is pretty decent. You've got to be super unlucky not to get through this level, or just, you know, having the worst time of your life on this map. So the only real tips here is for the first part, it has a rotating platform. I typically like to actually jump on it, then into the middle where it doesn't actually spin, and then actually jump onto the next platform, or kind of do 3 jumps within the platform, because I've noticed that for some of the time that I'm on here, the first part of these rotating platforms, they actually kind of go in opposite directions. So most of the time people will actually jump on it, ride it all the way around, jump onto the next platform, ride it all the way around, and then go onto the next one. Whereas for me, I actually like to jump on it, jump into the middle, jump near the end, and then jump onto the next one and do that all the way through. So it's kind of like doing 3 jumps in between every single platform all the way to the second part. And so moving on to the second part, this one actually isn't too different from the first one, except this one actually has a forward direction where all the actual platforms are going pretty much in the same direction to help you out. So instead of needing to jump through them all, you can actually just stay on them and then jump through all the way to the end. The only thing about this one that's different from the first one, really, other than the opposite rotation directions, is that this one actually has a secondary platform at the bottom that you can fall down to. So if you do fall down there, it's going to take quite a while for you to get back up the ramp. And now onto the last part here. This is going to have 3 giant rotating platforms along with yellow balls that will launch from the top of the ramp, which is basically where the finish line is. This one you need to be careful, because for some people that aren't paying attention, or for people who are playing this map for the first time, you actually need to jump from the top of the platform you're on onto the 3 rotating platforms. If you don't, you're actually gonna fall off. There is a ledge there, and then there's a gap between where the platform is and where the actual rotating giant platforms are. So if you're not paying attention and you just walk off of it, you're not actually gonna land on it, and you're gonna have to go and spawn back at the last checkpoint. This one is fairly easy though. I like to try to stay as close to the left or right side of the ramp as possible, because pretty much the giant balls don't actually make it that far. So even if it gets and starts to roll really close, you're never gonna get hit by it. So as best as you can, just start walking up towards the platform, go up the ramp, hug the left or right side of the wall, and you guys are gonna be good to go. Now moving on to the next game, it is Hit Parade, where you have to avoid the obstacles on your way to the finish line. This one can be pretty intimidating, especially at the second part where there's a gate that only opens up so much, and a lot of people start to crowd there, and it does sometimes feel like you're getting pushed back and you can't get through that gate sometimes. But for the most part, this map is pretty smooth sailing as far as I'm concerned. So for the first part, you just need to make it through the simple jumps, going through the beams and then walking all the way across. A lot of people actually like to jump down here, so instead of actually walking across the beams or taking the chance to jump or walk onto the beams and going all the way across like you should be, a lot of people like to actually just go and do a straight jump and dive all the way down. I feel like if you do that, sometimes sometimes you do have a chance to knock yourself out and your character starts to roll all the way down the bottom. You don't really want that, so if you can get yourself to walk on the beam, that is going to be faster than actually going all the way down and then climbing back up. Now for the second part here, you need to go through the furthest left or the right of these revolving doors, but you want to push through the center panels, as you guys can see here in the gameplay, because pretty much what is going to happen here is there's going to be the giant gate that I talked about where it only opens up so much, and the final gate there before reaching the next part is going to only open up within the center. So you're going to want to go either from the left side or the right side of those revolving doors, push within the center of those revolving doors going all the way, and then once you reach the end, hug that wall going towards the center. You're going to see that gate, and then just do your best to try to go through. A lot of people are going to be over here and bottlenecked, but I find that just pretty much hugging the wall and walking instead of trying to jump and diving is going to do a lot better for you, instead of actually, like I mentioned, jumping and diving across and through the actual gate. Now for the third part, it is the ball pendulums. This part is very simple to dodge as well. Just make your best judgment. If you guys find that the ball is coming too close, then wait a little bit. If you think that you can run right through them, just run right through them. Typically there is a really solid timing on them that you're going to be able to see, where you can pretty much just run right through them. The timing never really changes on them, so this one isn't going to be a problem. If you do get hit by the ball pendulums too hard, you are going to get launched either on the left or the right, and you're going to have to walk all the way back around and start that over. And then for the last part, it's going to be the slime uphill. This one's pretty easy. The biggest tip I can give you guys is do not jump or dive ever when you guys are doing this. Just simply walk up this platform here or walk up the slime, and do not do anything else aside from that. Once you guys reach the top, you guys are going to be good to go. There are going to be a couple of obstacles, these little beams that are going to be going across left and right. If you do hit them, they might push you back just a little bit, but it shouldn't be anything too crazy that's going to stop you guys and make you guys fall all the way back, as long as you guys are doing your best to pay attention. Now the next one up here is going to be seesaw, where you need to make sure to balance across a series of seesaws to reach the finish line. This one, in my opinion, is the easiest one to complete. I pretty much always complete this one in at least the top 5, if not the top 10, and I find myself pretty much just sometimes using this opportunity where if I am in first place, to gloat near the finish line and then end up going to go and qualify. And I also like to tell people that this level is a good way to determine someone's decision making skills, because honestly, there's a lot of the time where I'm watching random players, watching my friends play, and it seems like they take a long time to decide whether or not they're going to make a jump that seems like it's very obvious that you could actually make that jump. So anyways, onto the tip. The biggest thing I can tell you guys about this level right now is to never dive on the platforms, especially when they are already teetering or leaning heavily off to one side, as if you guys do dive, your character will pretty much hit face first into the platform and your little jelly bean will start to roll off the side, and you're gonna have to respawn at the last checkpoint. So the best place to actually jump on a platform that teeters a lot is closest to the center line, which obviously is very obvious because on every platform, on every single one of these teeter tots, these seesaws, you're gonna see a center line to let you know where it is, and anytime you're off to the side of that actual line, it will already start to teeter a lot off to one end that you're on. So you really got to be able to use that opportunity to kind of put some weight on one side and then start to walk up the other side and jump onto other platforms. And so again, when you guys do see one of the platforms or the seesaws teetering a lot off to one side, make sure you guys do your best to try and land or jump towards the center line as much as you guys can. That way you guys can actually have a more stable chance to actually walk up instead of actually falling all the way down towards the end. I see a lot of people diving onto it a lot. That is not going to help you. And also make sure you guys are walking up the actual teeter if you guys are going to be doing it. Don't be jumping, don't be doing anything crazy like that. And especially when you guys are near the checkpoint line, which is pretty much indicated by anything that has a long blue segment, you guys are actually going to be able to jump slightly off the side of the actual entrance where you're supposed to, and you can actually dive over that wall. You're going to be able to see me do that a lot here in the gameplay. That is one of the biggest things I can tell you guys, is when it's teetering a lot, you guys can actually jump over the wall and into the checkpoint boundary. Now making our way through DoorDash, keep yourself away from the fake door as you make a run for the finish line. Now this one's actually not one of my favorite ones at all, as this one just has everyone colliding, bottlenecking into the few open doors available. So for my tips on this one, it's to try to stay somewhere within the middle of the pack, never ahead, never be one of the first people. I still don't have a clue how DoorDash works completely. I don't know if there's a trick in knowing exactly which one of the doors is the real real one among all the fake ones. I do know that obviously if you hit a fake door, you do hear a little alert that says that's the wrong door, and obviously if you hit the real one, the door just breaks open. So I've been trying to figure out if there's a way to figure it out. I don't know how it is. So for now, I'm just gonna be staying in the middle of the pack, not ahead of the pack, but just somewhere in the middle, and let everybody else do the work. Now for the second tip I can give you guys, it's that you guys are gonna want to dive through the doors instead of doing regular jumps, because everyone is going to bottleneck as much as they can and try to get through the door. If you guys actually jump and dive, there are good chances that you guys can actually jump to a good height and dive over a lot of people that are bottlenecking the door. And if you guys do end up colliding with a lot of other people, you're gonna start to fumble along the ground, and it's gonna take a long time for you guys to get back up. I find that when I actually go through the door, if I'm not already close to it, I'll just do a jump and dive over everybody else. That way I don't have to struggle with everyone else just, you know, fumbling and colliding there through the door. And then the final tip is on the last gate, there's going to be 3 doors. One of them is going to open up. That's going to be the real door. And when it does, you're going to want to do your best to jump and dive over the door. A lot of people are going to be pushing for that door because obviously it is the final door before needing to go and run to the finish line. This one here is the best, where you can actually just jump and dive instead of actually just falling right off the edge or doing a simple jump, because everyone's going to be there. And if you do a simple jump, chances are a lot of other people might end up actually just jumping on top of you, colliding with you, and making you fall over as well. So jump and dive through the door. It'll give you some distance ahead of everybody else. Get up and then start walking towards the finish line. Next up is gate crash. Dodge the moving door to reach the finish line. Timing is key. The last part is the slime jump that requires timing and attention, but this one is a pretty simple map to do, and I don't find myself ever really losing on this map at all at any point. There's not really any good tips I can give you guys on this one because it's just more common sense and paying attention, but if you do see one that is just about to drop down, you can actually just go ahead and jump and dive right through it. But if you think you're off on the timing with the gates, you can actually just slow yourself down, especially on the end part there with the slime jump, and move backwards a little bit and then time it so that you can jump right through it. But for the most part, this one is pretty simple, especially if you time it just right. Now moving on to tiptoe, find the hidden path to the finish line while being wary of the fake tiles. Now this one here is the most aggressive game I have played, since there are usually only a few players left by this point, and this is one of those game modes that usually try to trickle down the amount of players just before the final stages, but this one is very, very aggressive. So for the tips on tiptoe, you want to stay in the front block as much as you can at all times. This one is super aggressive. Everyone wants to be at least near the front, and the reason you want to be near the front is usually, again, with tiptoe, this is one of those game modes that are going to try to eliminate as many players as they can before the actual final stage. So if there are, for example, like 16 players for whatever reason here on tiptoe, usually the end game result will have that only 9 or 8 or 7 people can qualify for this round. So you want to make sure that you are always in the front of the pack on the top block that's currently available for you guys, no matter what, but always try to stay toward the center, because if you guys are near the edge, a lot of people are going to be pushing for that front block as well, and you can get pushed off, and other people will be grabbing you to try and push you off as well. Now another tip is, just like I mentioned, a lot of people are going to be pushing towards the center of the block and trying to grab everybody and push them outward. So as long as you're in the center, you should be safe, but you do want to try your best to grab other players as well if you guys are in the center, and try to grab them and push them onto blocks. You want to see if it's going to be the real or fake tile or not. And then the biggest tip that I can give you guys about winning tiptoe is when you guys are starting to get closer and closer to the finish line, obviously you're going to be able to see there is a gap between where you guys are on the tiles and where the finish line is, and obviously you have to jump and dive for it. However, when you guys are here, you guys are going to notice that when you guys are going along the real tiles and trying to dodge all the fake tiles, if you guys notice that you guys are 3 or 4 blocks away from the actual finish line, and the third block from the finish line actually lights up, that is always going to be a straightaway onto the finish line. So as you guys are watching the gameplay here, you're going to notice that every time I notice that the third block away from the finish line lights up, I already know that that's the indicator for me to know that that is going to be a straightaway. It's not going to go left, it's not going to go right, it's not going to go to the second block and make a left or right. It's always going to be a straightaway. So you always want to be on that first block. Like I mentioned, as soon as you see that third block away away from the finish line lights up, start going straight right away and then make that jump and qualify. Now moving on to the whirlygig, dodge the spinning beams, hammers, and fans on your way to the finish line. This is actually one of my favorite maps here for the racing maps, second to the slime climb, but definitely an annoying map as well. But for the tips on this one, there's going to be a spinning beam section at the start. You always want to let yourself get hit by the spinning beam. You want to get hit by the beam and ride it all the way to the front. You're going to notice that I pretty much do this all the time as much as I can, because this is going to be the best way to actually bump you all the way to the front. And the reason for this as well is that you can't actually fall off the map here. There's an actual invisible wall for the first part of this map, so you really can't get sent flying off of this part of the map. Now shortly after you get bumped up to the front from the spinning beams, you're going to want to notice that there is a speed boost pad that you guys can take along with a wall, and then there's also going to be a yellow block on the left or the right. What I like to do here is take the speed boost pad and then jump on either the left or the right block, and then do a jump from there. And then once you're on that yellow or right block, jump again, and you're going to be able to go onto the top platform. For whatever reason, if you guys can't get onto that speed boost pad, or you guys miss or whatever and you guys fall down, you guys can just go normally jump back onto the yellow blocks and then jump onto the top platform. Or if you guys are for whatever reason stuck on the bottom closest to the edge on the highest platform, you guys can actually just jump and then press R2 or whatever your grab button is, and you can grab onto the ledge and then climb up and over the wall. Now this end segment is really easy, and pretty much if I really wanted to, I could win this 10 out of 10 times every single time, but I like to risk it a lot and go through the actual speed boost pad in the middle and then see if I will get hit by the actual spinning fan that actually moves really fast, whether or not I'll actually be able to make it through. And if I don't, it's not a big deal. I know that I can actually win this one if I tried to, but if you guys want a very easy win, you guys can just take the simple jumps with the spinning beams on the left or the right and take that all the way through the end, and eventually you're going to be met with a super slow and also wide fan. All you have to do is wait for the opening while avoiding the actual platform that you're on that has a spinning beam. Once you avoid all that and you do see an opening from the slow spinning fan, jump through it, and then you guys can walk up the actual ramp, and you guys are going to be up there at the finish line. This one is a very easy one to do. Again, it's my second favorite one from the slime climb. And hey, speaking about slime climb, we are on a slime climb. Outpace the rising slime as you rush towards the finish line. This one is my favorite map in all of the race modes. It's the easiest one in my opinion, but it can definitely be one of the hardest ones to recover from if you are too far back or you mess up too many times, because this one does have a slime that will climb up along the actual map here, and if you touch it, you will be eliminated. So there's two ways to lose on this map. You fall off the map and you touch the slime, or you don't make it fast enough and the slime catches up to you and touches you. So there are a lot of shortcuts you can actually take on here, and I do it a lot throughout the gameplay of this video. So on to the tips and the shortcuts. For the first level here, you're gonna go up the ramp here a little bit. You're gonna be able to see that there is a triangle bounce pad. When you guys see this triangle bounce pad, you're gonna want to do your best to try and actually jump onto it. If you jump onto this jump pad, you're gonna go onto the second level, but you do want to be careful not to get hit by the pushing blocks that are on the next level there. Do your best to try to go in between, as you guys can see in the gameplay here, and then make your way all the way to the top. For the second level, it's going to be a simple ramp walk up, but there are going to be giant balls that will launch and start rolling towards you. What you want to do is hug the furthest to the right, and you're going to see that there are going to be these little cuts and openings. You're going to want to go all the way to the last opening, as you guys can see here in the gameplay, and you can actually jump up on top of this and make your way through all of these different ones. You do want to make sure that you get the timing right, because these blocks do have a weird timing where sometimes the first one will go and then the next one will go, and sometimes both of them will go at the same time. So you want to be able to time this right so that you guys can make it through all of it and go on to the third level. Now once you guys get past the push blocks, you're going to be able to do a little minor jump here on the reverse conveyor belts that will lead you into the third level. I like to do this because if I'm a little bit behind or I do really want to try to get into first place, I'll do this jump, although it's really not going to be anything too crazy, but you're going to be able to see that it's something that I do here. And then for the next shortcut as well, you're going to be able to see that we do have all of these pink little like beam type things that are going to be going back and forth along the different parts of the conveyor belt that go reverse direction. But as you guys can see, where there's a little kind of opening and there's going to be a ramp and there's going to be a yellow beam, you can actually go and jump in between the ramp and the yellow beam, and that will actually take you up there instead of needing to go all the way around. And an actual pro tip about these particular pink beams that are going left and right, you guys can actually use them to push you forward, but you don't obviously want them to push you back backwards. So if you guys happen to be in front of them, you can actually walk in front of them and they'll actually push you forward a little bit. So that will actually help you guys out with your momentum. Now moving on to the next level here, it's going to be a slime climb. So after you're done doing all of the beam work and then going up the ramp, you're going to be on this purple slime climb. This one here is going to be another very similar jump like one of the first few levels there for the shortcut. You guys can actually make your way and hug along the right side of the wall, and when you guys reach kind of where the next ramp is to go and actually dodge all of these moving blocks, you guys can actually jump just before this actual gate part here, or this barricade, and that will take you right onto the top there, and then you can start walking across and start dodging all of the moving blocks. And then from everything onward here, everything is pretty much straightforward. Dodge everything as best as you can, and if you guys get hit by the actual beams, they do have a lot more potential and a lot more force for whatever reason to actually push you off the edge. So try not to use them to propel you forward like I mentioned earlier, and then go ahead and start dodging the ball pendulums and you guys can be good to go. And last but not least, we have the final map here, Fruit Shoot. I hate this one, but it's to avoid the falling fruit on your way to the finish line on the conveyor belt. Again, this is my least favorite map of all of the race modes. It just takes the most time, in my opinion, to walk up the reverse conveyor belt while trying to avoid the random flying and colliding fruit that land on the map. So the only good tips I have for you guys is to jump and dive at the edge when you guys are going to first do the jump at the start. You guys want to jump and dive. That will give you guys a good amount of distance. If you guys just actually walk off the edge, there is a good chance that for whatever reason you might collide with other people and your character might actually be so far back on the conveyor belt that it's not worth actually going for. You might as well jump off there and then respawn back at the top and then do the jump and dive to get yourself a little bit more ahead of the game. Now for the next tip, it's going to be to stay the closest to the left or the right sides of the map here on the conveyor belt. You never want to be in the center of this map because a lot of the rolling random fruit do end up going towards the middle, but there is a random rolling log that does come through every once in a while in the middle of the conveyor belt, and if you guys ever jump on the conveyor belt, it will really mess you up and mess your character up, and sometimes your character for whatever reason will just kind of lose its footing and you'll start to roll back along the conveyor belt, and that's going to lose a lot of time and a lot of distance from where you guys could have been if you guys just continued walking. So there's really not much else I can really say about this particular map other than this map is just all about patience, all about trying to pay attention and moving forward, and do your best not to collide with anyone or anything that you guys can while you guys are going all the way to the top. Also, do your best not to grab anybody as well, as that will also push your character back. So pretty much you just want to stay focused on yourself, walking up and dodging everything else and not touching anybody else until you're done on the conveyor belt section. Once you guys are done here, it's a simple walk all the way up the hill and you guys are going to be good to go. And so there you guys have it. That is every single race map available currently here on Fall Guys. All of my opinions, my thoughts, as well as the tips that I can give you guys in progressing through and hopefully helping you guys qualify and win and get all the way to the finals. Of course, here on the channel, we are going to be uploading the other maps and guides and tutorials to help you guys out for the survival modes, the team modes, as well as obviously the final stages. All of those will have their own separate videos. This one was the racing one, so we're going to have a separate video here for survival, another one for team, and then obviously another one for the final stages. So make sure you guys are subscribed here on the channel with notifications turned on, that way you guys don't miss out when I do upload that video here on the channel, talking about all of the different tips and tricks for all of the different types of maps here that you guys need to know about to help you guys progress through and eventually get to the final stage and hopefully getting you guys yourself a crown. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed today's video, remember to drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on post notifications here on the channel by hitting that bell icon next to the subscribe button. Also follow me on Twitter to stay up to date with everything going on regarding my videos, my channel, my streams, and myself. And speaking about streams, like I mentioned earlier in the video, I am streaming a lot over on Twitch at twitch.tv/FlipArtz live. The link will be down in the description below, so if you guys want to go and drop a follow for me over there, I'll be streaming pretty much every single day. So if I'm not playing Fall Guys, I'm sure I'm going to be playing something else that you guys might enjoy watching as well. Come and join in on the chat, talk in the community, and be a part of the community, the Arts fam community. Either way, thank you guys again for watching. Catch you on the flip side. Arts out.